Manx Radio's Update with Beth Espy.
Well, first, my good evening. Welcome to Update here on Manx Radio. Pretty wild outside at the moment. We'll have the latest on the weather situation and the traffic as well. But also tonight, industrial action could soon be on the cards for the island's bus drivers. We'll bring you what we know so far. Also, Douglas City Council's leader clarifies some issues raised over the decision to sell some social housing properties. Manx Utilities confirms nothing else could have been done to save some small fish at Clips Reservoir. And we'll be finding out about hockey as well, and also some good news for businesses in Ramsey. That's all to come before 5:30 here on Update. As ever, if you'd like to get in touch, you can email the studio. It's studio@manxradio.com, or you can text 166 177. We'll start with a roundup of the main news headlines with Darren Fastamai.
Fastamai, Bus Vannin says it remains committed to ongoing discussions with its drivers as its emerged Unite members have voted in favour of industrial action. A spokesperson says before this can be undertaken, there is a formal process which needs to be complied with, and when details are provided about any potential disruptions to service, these will be communicated in a timely manner. Businesses in Ramsey say its high street is able to thrive thanks to a community of independent shops it's built.
It's really picked up well, yeah. People are very interested. Considering we're in St Paul's Square, which can be a quieter area, we have somehow managed to attract people to us, so we're quite happy about that.
However, weather warnings and closures of the mountain road are said to have a big impact on the amount of trade coming to the town. And new safeguards have been added to the local government amendment bill after heavy criticism from local authorities. Clause 5 initially proposed allowing the Department of Infrastructure to assign new functions to councils without formal consent or extra funding. To international news, and Netflix says Warner Brothers will continue to release films in cinemas as it announces a £54 billion deal to buy its film and TV studios business. It brings Harry Potter, Friends and Stranger Things under the same roof. The head of Ukraine's armed forces says it'd be unacceptable to give up any territory to Russia. General Alexander Syrsky claims that the Kremlin's making gains on the battlefield as negotiations to end the war continue. And Donald Trump's arrived for the World Cup draw in Washington alongside FIFA's president Gianni Infantino.
I'm ready for it, and they're ready for it. And Johnny, has done a fantastic job with FIFA. And we're looking to have, we have already set records with ticket sales. I don't think there's ever been anything like it in any sport.
America's hosting the 2026 tournament with Canada and Mexico, and England and Scotland will find out their groups shortly. Those are the headlines. News next at 6.
Thanks very much indeed, Darren. Now the weather brought to you by Manx Glass and Glazing. So first of all, that amber weather warning for coastal overtopping comes into force at 9:30. It's until 1:30 tomorrow morning. It is the usual areas: Shore Road in Rushen, Castletown, Laxey and Ramsey promenades, as well as the central and northern parts of Douglas Prom. We know that the Christmas shopping parking has been suspended. So it is going to be wet and windy. Further outbreaks of rain this evening. Those will be heavy at times, accompanied by that strong to gale force southeast wind. There might be gusts of around 50 to 60 miles an hour in the most exposed areas. That wind will veer southwest. It will ease later this evening. Minimum overnight temperatures will be 8 Celsius. Then tomorrow, cloudy with rain at times, moderate to fresh southwest winds. They will strengthen again later in the day. And then on Sunday, it's going to be cloudy again, an area of rain moving in from the south through the morning, and that will clear later. The best temperatures over the weekend, around 13.
Manx Glass and Glazing can supply and install single, double and triple glazing. Call 674 573 or visit the showroom on the Snugborough Trading Estate.
Simply income protection from Kestrel Insurance. A choice of benefits. Simple underwriting and peace of mind with a regular income for up to 2 years if you're unable to work due to illness or injury. Kestrel Insurance is registered with the Isle of Man Financial Services Authority.
Carpetland, the carpet specialist with the island's best value carpets in stock, often fitted within a week. Furnitureland for 3-piece suites, dining and living room furniture, and a selection of amazing beds. Carpetland and Furnitureland, West Street, Ramsey.
Manx Mobility in Onken have it all. Daily living aids, wide-fitting shoes, rise recliners, beds and scooters, including lightweight and airline-approved models. Call in and see how our expert team can make your life easier. Manx Mobility at the top of Summer Hill.
The exclusive Karcher store is open with thousands of products, accessories and parts in stock. For Karcher sales and service, Hersham Electrical, Shipyard Industrial Estate, Ramsey.
You're listening to Update here on Manx Radio. It is exactly 5:05 now. We've been hearing today that bus drivers on the Isle of Man have voted in favour of industrial action. This is about ongoing disputes around pay and contracts. Bus Vannin is run by the Department of Infrastructure, and when we spoke to its Minister, Michelle Haywood, earlier, she said they have been negotiating with the Unite the Union over the past few weeks.
We know there was a ballot. We know that the union have indicated that the ballot supported industrial action, whether that's work to rule or strike. We're not quite clear on the numbers yet, and we don't have anything further at this stage.
Is there a timeline, like if they've been balloted, like within 48 hours, they have to come back to you guys, or there's no sort of timeline?
You know, strikes are quite uncommon in the Isle of Man. So at the moment, we're just checking out about the validity of the ballot and what the next steps look like and what that timeline looks like. I don't have the details, I'm afraid.
If it were to go ahead, if there was to be a strike, any idea what could be the dates or anything like that?
No, at the moment. I've spoken with Bus Vannin, and what we'd like to do is just reassure people that as and when we get any details provided about potential disruptions to services, we'll communicate those as quickly as we can, with whatever mitigations that we can put against that. We are committed to having ongoing discussions with the bus drivers via their unions and trying to resolve matters. That would be the ideal thing for every party, is to have some resolution to this. But we're not at that stage yet until they formally notify us what we're going to do.
And has the department started looking at any kind of backup plans just in case it needs to step in for anything?
We always have a lot of business continuity plans around every action that the department is taking in every division, and we do have business continuity plans. But until we know the exact nature of the industrial action that Unite are going to agree that their members will take, and when that is, I don't think we can say yet. What I would like to do is to urge the unions to come back into the discussions and to work to find a way forward, because nobody, the bus drivers and the department, nobody wants to see that service upset. It's a really important service for our island, and we all rely on it to one extent or another.
Referring back to that social media post, there was lots of concerns, lots of comments on there. I think especially during this time of the year, where in the next few weeks people are going to start depending more on the bus services, because, Christmas parties, the police, take the bus home instead of drink driving. So it's going to be one of the essential services.
Absolutely. And it is an essential service. And you're right, this time of year, we positively encourage people to switch their journey to the bus so they can go out and enjoy the Works Christmas Do without worrying about how they're going to get home. But I genuinely have no information about on what dates or what level of industrial action the union is currently proposing.
Infrastructure Minister Michelle Haywood there. Well, since we spoke to Dr. Haywood, we have since heard from Unite the Union. Amy is with me now. Amy, what can you tell us about what the union had to say?
Now, we haven't seen the official results of the ballot, but Unite has told us that bus vanning drivers have given it a clear and decisive mandate for industrial action. It says the main disputes are over pay, conditions and proposed changes to long-standing entitlements. Drivers are said to have expressed strong opposition to the employer's proposals, which they say include reductions in established allowances and alterations to terms that members rely on. Unite says the result of the ballot demonstrates a high level of frustration across the workforce and a willingness to take action if needed.
Now, this isn't a new conversation, is it? These issues have been bubbling away for some time.
They have. Last year, there was an extended period of disruption to our bus services. At the time, it was said to be down to staff shortages and sickness, but the transport operator did dismiss rumours claiming a number of staff had walked out in a row over a two-tier contract system. In September 2024, there was also an almost 10% vacancy rate, although a recruitment drive was taken to try and address it. After a few weeks, things did seem to stabilise, and while we have occasionally had days of disruption since then, it's been far less frequent. But it seems that the underlying issues still haven't been completely resolved.
So that was then. What happens now?
Well, Unite says it's now moving into the statutory notification phase, which is when it will let the DOI know about the results of the ballot. Dates for the industrial action will be confirmed if negotiations fail to produce an acceptable settlement. Unite's regional officer Debbie Halsall says the bus drivers carry huge responsibility every day and they deserve to be treated fairly and with respect. She says they're now urging the employer and the department to return to the table with a meaningful, authorised offer that addresses the issues drivers have been raising repeatedly.
Amy, thank you so much. Well, in the past few minutes, we have had a statement from the Department of Infrastructure to say Bus Vannin is aware that industrial action is being considered by some members of staff. Before this can be undertaken, there is a formal process which needs to be complied with. Any planned industrial action would have to be notified to Bus Vannin at least 7 days prior to this taking place. Bus Vannin would like to reassure service users that when details are provided about any potential disruptions to service, these will be communicated in a timely manner wherever possible. Bus Vannin remains committed, they say, to ongoing discussions with the union to seek to resolve matters. As ever, you can find the full story at manxradio.com. It is 5:10 and the leader of Douglas Council says selling some of its social housing stock that needs major investment will help reduce homelessness and shorten waiting lists. The authority plans to sell 17 properties at market value and reinvest 100% of the proceeds into building new homes. Speaking on Manx Radio's breakfast programme this morning, the council leader Devon Watson said the council was taking bold and experimental steps and had already increased its maintenance budget significantly.
We've got a lot of competing goals, right? So one of the things we need to do is get that housing waiting list as short as possible. We deal with people in homelessness. We deal with people who have absolutely nowhere else to go. So what we can do, rather than putting hundreds of thousands or millions of pounds into modernising these properties, what we can do is sell some of these properties, get them occupied, increase private sector stock, and then use that funding to build another block of apartments in the same way that we've done with Williston or Peel Road. Take these properties and build even more public sector housing. That's the goal.
The market rate which you get, 100% of that's going to be ring-fenced. Will all of it be injected back into building more public sector homes?
Yeah, 100%. So we've got a few sites that we're currently looking at. An expression of interest is either going out today or on Monday, and we're going to be building, hopefully we're going to be building quite a decent chunk of homes. We've got 250 people out down on the waiting list. The goal of this administration is to get that down between at least 60% by the time the next local authority election comes forward. We know that no one else is ever going to come and save us. No one is going to build housing for us. No one is going to come and offer us funding. We've appealed to government for the past several years. And if we're going to have to do this, we're going to have to raise some of the funds ourselves. And I know that people are alarmed by this. And I know that people are concerned. But ultimately, we're doing this because this is the only way in order to get people into housing and get people out of some of the slum conditions that they find themselves in Douglas.
I just want to pick up on what you just said there, the slum conditions. Obviously, Douglas Council has said that these properties would require significant investment. Some people have suggested that that's down to a lack of maintenance. How much maintenance does the council carry out on such properties?
Oh, significant. So what happens is we've really upped our maintenance budgets over the past several years. So we've increased our maintenance budget by millions. We also, how much money we are allowed to spend on maintenance is determined by DIY formulas in which it's only a set percentage of rent that comes in. So how much we can spend on maintenance is determined by how much we get in by rent. So we've upped that, we've negotiated, and we've actually really improved maintenance schedules over the past several years. And recently, in the first quarter of this year, 100% of all emergency repairs took place within 24 hours. That's something that we're really, really proud of, and our team has done an incredible job on that. But this isn't simply a job of, well, if you just go in and put a lick of paint on, that doesn't solve every problem. Public sector and private sector have very different requirements as to what you need, right? Because the type of tenants and the type of person going into these places is very different. So my big objective is to make sure that we never put anybody into a substandard property. We never put anyone into a place where they could later feel unhealthy or feel damp. If you have any concerns, please get in touch with our housing team at housing@douglas.gov.im.
That's the leader of Douglas City Council, Devon Watson. It's 5:14 and an annual service will see those whose lives have been touched by organ donation come together in remembrance and thanksgiving. It all gets underway at 2 p.m. tomorrow at St George's Church on Upper Church Street in Douglas. Founder of Organ Donation Isle of Man, Diane Taylor, says a particularly powerful part of the service is when candles are lit in remembrance.
It's a service where anyone whose life has been touched by organ donation, so a loved one that's passed away and donated their organs, or transplant recipients, so anyone that's had an organ transplant or perhaps they're on the waiting list for a transplant, and also those that have been affected that a loved one has passed away because their transplant hasn't come in time. and sadly they've passed away. There's two parts to tomorrow's service. We've got the St John Award for Organ Donation. Now this is a national award, and it is to formally recognise anyone who has given the gift of life to others. It's a recognised award and it's a very special one, and we've got one family tomorrow that will be presented with it, and also two families that will be named and remembered during the service. The other part of the service, which I think is the most special part, is where we invite people to come up and light a candle in memory of their loved one or their donor. This year it's extra special. We've got little glass votives which you can personalise for your loved one or your donor, and we invite people to come forward and light those in remembrance and recognition. And each year we have around 70 candles being lit, you know, in remembrance. And I think that part of the service it's all about the donors and all about our loved ones.
That is Diane Taylor, founder of Organ Donation Isle of Man. That service tomorrow is at 2 p.m. in St George's Church.
Manx Radio Travel, driven by Quayside Tyres and Service Centre.
Well, do you know what? The weather's utterly rubbish at the moment, so just take care when you're out and about. There's lots of rain, the wind is pretty heavy as well, but nothing specific to report anywhere. Just take care on your way home. There are a couple of flight cancellations this afternoon. We know also the steam packet affected by the weather. The 2:30 from Heysham didn't go, and of course that means the one going from here to Heysham at 8:30 tonight isn't going either. So the first sailing will be 3 a.m. tomorrow morning, which will get back into Douglas at about 7:15. Some things to look out for over the weekend. Tomorrow and Sunday, the main Peel to Douglas Road is going to be closed at Union Mills 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. That is to fell some dangerous trees. The bus services will be diverted accordingly. The Young Farmers Christmas Tractor Run taking place tomorrow and Sunday as well, so routes are going to be pretty busy around there as well. You'll be able to find out more details on the Manx Radio website.
Quayside Tyres and Service Centre with 1 year's free engine warranty from Castrol. Get more with
Quayside.
It's just gone 17 minutes past 5, and Manx Utilities has confirmed some small fish died during the draining of Clips Reservoir in Onken. The work was undertaken after a critical underwater valve failed during a routine inspection, as Siobhan reports.
Detailed planning for the work began in June, with Manx Utilities liaising with the Department of Environment, Food and Agriculture's Inland Fisheries Division to ensure the impact on stocked trout in the reservoir was minimised. Draining the reservoir was the only viable option to carry out the essential works, and an environmental impact assessment was undertaken to assess the potential impact on wildlife. That assessment concluded that a slow water release from the reservoir would allow fish to leave via interconnecting pipework to the adjacent Cerridoo. Fish stocking was paused in early July, but anglers continued fishing until the end of August, when fishing was prohibited due to safety concerns. Draining of the reservoir commenced in mid-July, with water being gradually transferred from Clips to Cerridoo at an average rate of 20 millimetres per day. Full-scale draining began in mid-August, with rates maintained at approximately 200 to 300 millimetres per day, aiming for completion by mid-September. By the 15th of September, the reservoir had been drained as far as the pipework allowed. However, it refilled during periods of wet weather and was subsequently drained again. Daily inspections indicated no signs of fish distress during this process, and it was assumed that the population had migrated to Cerridoo as expected. However, in a Freedom of Information request response, the authority has now revealed that when the work commenced on the 20th of October, a small number of distressed fish were observed. DEFRA's Inland Fisheries Division was informed and attended the site, with an internal incident recorded. That document reveals that whilst pumping the remaining water from the already nearly drained reservoir, several fish were noticed in the water. At that point, the water was cloudy, with all the disturbed sediments causing death to smaller fish. The fisheries team rescued the live larger fish and took them off-site. However, the report states that smaller fish could not have been rescued and nothing else could have been done to save the last few fish.
Siobhan reporting there. Sorry, completely forgot her name. It is coming up to 20 past 5. We've got some good news now, because businesses in Ramsey say their Christmas trade this year is doing really well so far. Now, this comes as many local shops in other areas of the island say they're facing a number of challenges challenges when competing with online retailers, a cost of living crisis and changing shopper habits. But weather warnings and closures of Mountain Road, we know, can have a big impact on the amount of trade going to Ramsey. We've been talking to Lauren and Tim Metcalf from Oogies and Meditech in St Paul's Square, and also Claire Hewitson from Chalet in Parliament Square.
It's really picked up well, yeah. People are very interested. We've got a lot of very strange and odd eclectic gifts about, and people seem to have responded quite well to them. Considering we're in St Paul's Square, which can be a quieter area, we have somehow managed to attract people to us, so we're quite happy about that.
It's good that we're trying to beat internet prices as well and be competitive with internet prices.
Because how much of a challenge is it to do that in a world where everyone's online shopping?
That's more your side.
It's not easy, but it is possible. We've managed to do it. It's just keeping in touch with our wholesalers, trying to basically just stay exactly the same prices as online so that people can just come in here, try things on and then leave with them rather than having to wait and then buy the wrong size.
Why was it that you chose to open your shop here, and what was it about it that you thought would make it sort of the right place for you guys?
Well, we're based in the north, and my parents had a business in Ramsey for a long time and we moved over here in the 80s, so I'm used to Ramsey. As well as that, it's where all the indie businesses seem to be all gathering together and we feel like we fit in and complement them quite well.
What has trade been like since you've opened generally?
Honestly, we can't complain. We've had quite a good response to Oogies. We've really enjoyed it and people seem to be finding us every day. More and more people coming in, they find us via Facebook, TikTok, or just simply by walking past and being interested.
It's picked up the last couple of weeks, I would say. It's been quite a slow start. I think all through the year it's been quite hard for people. It's made harder with the Mountain Road being closed so much. It seems to be closed more often than it's open. But people that come into Chalet, there was a lady just been in and she said, I always come in here because I can find something different that other shops don't have. So I do try to source something different and generally things that I like. So that makes it a lot easier for me.
What do you think it is about Ramsey that is encouraging that in a world where constantly hearing headlines like the high street's dying?
I think a lot of shops here are independent shops and we all try and do something different. We don't like to tread on each other's toes, and we'll always, if they can't find something in here, I'll say you might be able to find it in this or that shop. So I think we help each other out too, which is really nice. It's sort of a community spirit. There's lovely places to eat. There's really nice little cafes, which is great. So it's a good spirit, I think, good community spirit.
Claire Hewitson, and before that, Lauren and Tim Metcalf speaking from Ramsey to Amy. 22 minutes past 5. It's a sport that's thriving in terms of players, and there are hopes more can get involved in Manx hockey in important non-playing roles. The Manx Hockey Association's Hockey Development Officer, Rachel Andrew, explains some of the things they're doing to open up more opportunities for people to get involved with.
For the last couple of years, it's been just hovering above 1,000 registered participants. So those are people who play hockey in whatever form. It's roughly a 50-50 split between the under 18s and the over 18s, which is great to see because it shows that we have got youngsters coming through and enjoying the sport as well. The bit of information we're getting from clubs now is actually understanding the age bandings and the male and the female, so we can try to put things in place to target areas where we're maybe a little bit low. We've got to make hockey the sport of choice.
Outside of the playing side as well, of course, there are crucial roles that have to be filled each week to make sure matches can go ahead. How important is it that you can also advertise not just what's available if you want to play the sport, but also that there are key roles to get involved in?
It is. It's really important. And one of the things that we've done just over the last 2 or 3 days is England Hockey have launched a new junior hockey coaching framework. And there are so many amazing things in there that people can use to help develop their junior players. And to support that, England Hockey changed their membership system recently. So it's this year. So now included within the membership fee, we pay access to a lot of free courses. So there are free courses for umpires and coaches. So it's making sure we've got that. And then once that's happened, we can support the people to make sure that they get experience and they're actually signed off as being competent in those roles. But clubs are always looking for help and support. We've got fantastic volunteers and everyone really does appreciate them. But sometimes it's the same people wearing multiple hats. We need to get more people involved, and we're hoping that through the courses actually being free, some of them are online as well, so you can do them at home. It might encourage more people to get involved.
That is the Manx Hockey Association's Hockey Development Officer, Rachel Andrew. And anyone interested in details about non-playing roles is invited to get in touch with the association. The contact details are on its website. That's mha.org.im. Some more sport time now with Rob. Fast am I, Rob?
Fast am I. Starting off tonight, the semi-finals of this year's Manx Castor Railway Cup competition headline the ties in Isle of Man football this weekend. Corinthians, Peel, Laxey and Onken have all qualified for this year's tournament, with all of them vying for a chance to lift the silverware following the final, which is currently planned for Boxing Day. While defending Premier League champions Peel will host Laxey, whilst current top-flight frontrunners Corinthians, who remain undefeated so far this campaign, take on Onken. Both semi-finals are due to get underway on Saturday at 1 p.m. Well, on the same day, league fixtures are set to continue across the senior men's leagues, with league contests expected to get underway slightly later at 2 p.m. Among those fixtures, Castletown and Colby will continue their ongoing tussle at the top of Ardern and Drug Unlimited Division 2, still with just 2 points separating the southern rivals heading into the weekend. Both the leaders, Castletown and second place Colby, are on the road at Douglas Royal and Douglas and District respectively. You can view a full schedule of this weekend's Isle of Man football fixtures at manxradio.com. In rugby, Douglas will be looking to maintain their spot at the top of Regional 2 Northwest when they head on their travels as part of tomorrow's Manx rugby clashes. Phil Kringle's side head to West Park St Helens on Saturday, with the Islanders set to start the day a point clear at the summit and with a game in hand. Elsewhere, 2 tough tests are expected for Vagabonds and Ramsey in Counties 3, ADM, Lancashire and Cheshire tomorrow. Vagabonds face the daunting task of hosting league leaders Bury at Bala Fletcher, whilst Ramsey head to Duckenfield. Also tomorrow, the Hertford Homes Manx Shield returns as Western Vikings are set to take on Douglas Celts. And in martial arts, the Isle of Man will host its very first professional grappling competition this weekend. The Jekaris Invitational will be held at the Roundhouse in Braddon tomorrow at 3 p.m. No fewer than 30 top competitors from the likes of Brazil, the USA and the UK will be part of the event that also aims to showcase the martial arts talent the Isle of Man has to offer. Among the fights scheduled are 4 title contests. Well, tickets for those wanting to attend are available online. Alternatively, a pay-per-view service on fightworld.tv will be broadcasting the tournament live.
Thank you very much indeed, Rob. A quick hop, skip and a jump for you to the next studio because Rob has the Friday Sport Preview coming up just after update. If you haven't taken a look at our Facebook page and seen how Christmassy we've been today, then do go and have a look at it. Our journalist Chanel was set a challenge this morning to find the most Christmassy houses on the island, and she went to 2 properties, one in Douglas on Candy Cane Lane, not its real name, but honestly look at the video, it's just phenomenal, and then out to Peel to see a fantastic house on Glen Faber Road. So those little videos, go and have a look at those. And if you've got children or anything and you're doing the little tour of the lights, it's a brilliant thing to do at this time of year. Do check those out. As I say, coming up next, it is the Friday Sport Preview with Rob. Then at 6:30, Greatest Hits with Chris Kinney. At 9, it's Jumping In with Howard and Chris Kane. And Rianne will be with you with After Hours from 10. Whatever you're doing tonight and over the weekend, have a great one. Do keep an eye on our social media and website for any latest weather updates. An update will be back with you at 5 p.m. on Monday.